what you're really dreaming about so you can lose your fear. You're afraid to open your business because if your business fails, you'll lose the money you saved, and you won't open your business because you might lose your job when your boss finds out. Dream bigger. Dream of what opening that business could do for you. The feeling of freedom that you would have, the extra money you could make, what you could do for your family, the things you could leave a legacy of. Maybe your dream ain't big enough. Maybe you got the dream of owning a large company, maybe a mom and pop store. Maybe you dream of climbing the corporate ladder. Maybe you're dreaming of becoming the supervisor or the CEO of the company. You got to dream so big that if this dream don't happen, you'll be miserable. Once you can do that, you can press through your feet. You can move forward. You can get on with it. I'm telling y'all, I was taught this. Dream so big that you can't imagine your life without living your dream. Let me teach you something. How many of you have a dog? How many of you have ever had a dog that had a flea on? That's everybody. You ever seen a flea? One of the smallest insects, really small, one of the smallest insects. But for his height and size, and flea has the highest vertical leap in nature for an insect. A flea can jump, has a 36-inch vertical. A flea, man, can come 36 inches off the ground. His vertical is 36. The average person can't do that. But a flea can jump 36 inches off the ground. If you capture the flea and you put him in a mayonnaise jar and you put the lid on it, the flea know one thing. I got a 36-inch vertical. So here he goes. He started jumping, but he gonna hit himself on that lid because he got that lid on it. But after a while, after getting knocked down so many times, the flea makes an adjustment. So now the flea only jumps just to where he don't get knocked back down. He got 36 vertical, but since this lid is on, his environment got him now jumping nowhere near what he can. Capture some more fleas and put them in there. They got 36 verticals, but then they start jumping. They find out they keep getting knocked down. They start doing what the other fleas is doing. Next thing you know, I got a jar full of fleas and I ain't even using a 36-inch vertical because they got a lid on the jar. Them fleas have babies. Them babies is born into the conditions of the environment. So now guess what? The flea is born with a 36-inch vertical, but because he see his mom and daddy and all his cousins and friends jumping just barely to the roof, you know what he do? He duplicates that behavior. The flea never reaches his potential. Until you take the top off of your mayonnaise jar, you're gonna duplicate your surroundings. If you take an oak tree seed and you put it in a 2-foot pot, that seed will never become the oak tree that oak trees are capable of becoming because it's gonna get stifled by the 2-foot pot. Now check this out, ain't nothing wrong with the seed. Seed just fell prey to the environment. You are a seed from God. God made you in his likeness. He big, he vast. Don't you allow your environment to dictate the oak tree that you become. Because ain't nothing wrong with your seed. All of y'all got this wonderful gift that he gave you at birth. All y'all got one, you better believe that now. Don't die with this gift and don't never use it. All of y'all got this wonderful gift, but you gotta use it. Take your seed, take your gift. Get away from these people that's in your life that ain't doing nothing. Get away from people in your life that's hating. Get away from your family members that ain't ever opened a business. Get away from your family members that ain't ever followed their dreams. Get away from your family members ain't never been nowhere but to the family reunion. Ain't never been to a beach. Get away from them. Get away from them. I had to do it. When I told everybody I was getting into comedy, man, oh, Lord have mercy. You can't get into comedy. You ain't even funny. How you gonna make money telling jokes? Now, in the beginning, it looked like they was right. I never gave up. All I did was identify this gift. I wrote all of my visions down. I read them every morning and every night. I instilled them in my head. And every time I met somebody, they say, hey man, what you trying to do? I would tell them one of my visions. Somebody would always say to me, you know, I know a guy that's selling them things right there. You ought to talk to him. I started scratching stuff off my vision board. My vision board is so vast now. If I showed you what was on it, you wouldn't even believe it. Because I dream so big. I want so big because the God I serve is big. He's not a small God. He's a really, really big God. He does really, really big stuff. And I expect him to do really, really big stuff for me. If he'd have done it for Oprah, he'd have done it for the Obamas, whoever got, why I can't have this here? I'm going to do better with it than all of them. To me, but why you can't have that? That's how you get what you want in life now. You don't have to believe me, but here's the deal. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If I just told you a different way to go about it, you don't need no money. I just gave you some scriptures you could try and some principles. If somebody who had come from the bottom and got to this position I'm in told me that this is the way I would try, if I was you, I would try it. I bet you it would work. There's a difference between your passion and your gift. Your passion is something that you enjoy doing. Like, I'm passionate about golf. It ain't what I do. I suck. It's just not what I do. I'm gifted at words. I'm gifted at that. So before you strike off into script writing, determine your gift. Whatever it is you're trying to do, you must first determine if it is your gift. And don't pursue things that you're passionate about. Pursue the thing that you are gifted at. All of you are gifted. Every last one of you, God gave you a gift at birth, all of you. God never created a soul without giving him a gift. All of you have a gift. Your job is to discover the gift. It's very simple. It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. Anything else you're doing, you're wasting your time. But you ain't no singer. What the you singing for? Now, I don't care how good you sound at the church. Church let everybody sing. They let anybody go up there and sing. I was walking by myself with the Lord. Man, why is your singing? But they're not gifted. Discover the gift. So you should ask yourself first, is writing the gift? Is writing the gift? Now, the writing may not lead you to screenwriting or movies. It may lead you to books. But the first thing you need to do is writing your gift. If it's your passion, you're wasting your time. You're going to write a book that don't nobody like but you. I was watching Joel Osteen on TV one day, and he said, people's opinion of you is none of your business, nor should you make it yours. You get in a lot of trouble worrying about what somebody think about you, when really, what difference do it make? Whether they wrong or right, what difference do it make? The majority of people who have a negative viewpoint of you really don't even know you. What I found about being successful is it wasn't me who changed. It was people's opinion of me that changed. You know, I got more, but I'm the same dude, but your opinion of me has changed. Now you think I'm all that. When in actuality, I really am humbled by all this. I really can't believe God let me have this. I really do understand that I am here but by the grace of God. I'm clear about that. I am so clear about that. It ain't me. It's not me. See, I know the decisions I made, and I know how it got me where I got to. I know how my life turned out when I gave it over to him. I gave my life to God. Now, I may not be the Christian you think I ought to be, but once again, your opinion of me, it doesn't matter to me. I've just learned not to allow people opinion of me to bother me or stop me. Publicly, man, I've been ridiculed and ate alive on that internet. He this, he think he this, I can't stand him. He this, he that. You know, I've been everything on the internet. I don't care. When you get through reading that stuff, cut your TV on. Turn it to almost any channel you want to. 7 days a week. The little dude that you keep hating on, that God I serve, he ain't hated me yet. He ain't hated me not now time. And I've discovered something. Look, man, what God got for you, nobody, no hater, no employer, no co-worker can stop nothing God has for you. God is in the blessing business, but better than that, he's in the forgiving business. See, if God wasn't a forgiving God, I'm not here today. But God had to forgive me over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I can't count the times he done forgave me. See, I just never let my failures define me. See, when you make a mistake, just get up and go again. What you tripping for? I made public mistakes. Let me tell you something, man. When Miss Universe, I have to apologize. I took that myself. You know how many people wrote me off? You know how many letters I got from TV execs? We're proud of you for doing the right thing, but oh my God, a horrible mistake. I hope you're gonna be okay. You hope I'm gonna be my career over because of that? People wrote me off. No, I just got up. I got up. I kept coming to work. I just kept coming. I kept showing up. Because eventually, well, what you gonna do? The time has come. You know, my father used to always tell me something. You're gonna either get over it or die mad. You got two choices. You can get past it or you can die mad. Now, if you want to die mad, tear your ass off. And just die mad. But God forgave me, so I got up and I kept going. Your mistakes don't define you. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. I just stood up like I had some dignity. And I just kept performing, kept telling jokes, kept entertaining people. To the point now where it don't even matter. That pageant is the biggest pageant they've ever had. Everybody tune in and see who I'm gonna say this year. Just keep living, y'all. Keep waking up in the morning. I'm Ephesians 3:20 all day long. I expect God to do exceedingly and abundantly over all I think or ask. Because I honor him, his blessings will chase me down and overtake me. I will be in the right place at the right time. People will go out of their way to be good to me. Because that is my declaration as a servant of the Lord. I'm his child. I am an imperfect soldier for Christ. That's what I am. I'm an imperfect soldier for Christ. I'm in the army of the Lord, but I have a role to play. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. They ain't happen. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary is cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities, all of you. You have to decide if you're willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't but 24 hours in a day. You cannot be asleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was asleep. The Bible says, he who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night. If you're not happy with your life, it's because you're not living in your gift and you have decided to pursue a passion. But I can't win no money. I can't make the cut. I'm a 16 handicap. That's on a good day. I wanted to play in the NBA. When I was growing up, I wanted to play in the league. That was my goal, to play in the NBA. I wasn't gifted at it, though. I had a couple of problems. If I ran at full speed, I didn't have the ball. And when I shot it, it ain't go in a lot of times. Now, you put that together, you can quit talking about the NBA. My gift was I had the ability, and I didn't know it at a young age, but I had the ability to take information instantly and transform it into comedy. I didn't know that was a gift. I just thought it was something I did. It got me in more trouble than I've ever. It has been the biggest curse, because when you're young, you don't know what it's a gift, you just do it. Now, as I got older, this gift has transformed me. I can take information and turn it into inspiration. I can take information and turn it into motivation. And the reason I'm here today is because my life has been jacked up. And I have learned and mastered something. I've mastered the principles of success. You can't tell me I can't. That's what I've done. I've mastered the principles of success. I know them by heart, inside out. You can't tell me nothing about it. About success. I cannot help but intertwine faith in that. So if you don't really care for the faith piece, you ain't gonna really care for me. Because I cannot tell you how I made it without telling you about God or the principles. Every principle of success, it comes from God Almighty. It's in whatever religious reading you read. That's not my business what you believe in. You just got to believe in something. I told the group earlier. I don't care what you call God. You can call God Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Just call it, though. It's not in my business what you call it. I don't care. But I cannot stand here and talk to you about my road to success. I cannot inspire these young people that I tried to get to earlier today and not intertwine faith. So I'm sorry if that ain't your thing. But y'all have paid me now, so here I am. I got the money wired to my account, so here it is. Take a deep breath. I tell people all the time, and I was talking to young people, and what I try to get people to understand is, I don't care who you are in this room. If you got to a place in your life where you felt like, life should have been more for you, or you're trying to figure your life out, there's one simple way to get it done. God, when he created all of us, he never created an individual without bestowing a gift in it. And God put that gift in all of us. Some of you are gifted in teaching, networking, counseling, sharing, life-saving. Some of you are caretakers, but you gifted. If you work in your gift, you now find your purpose in life, a real meaning for waking up in the morning. A lot of people, you know people that get up and go to work in the morning, they're just miserable. They hate driving to work. They hate their job. They hate their co-workers because they ain't doing what they want to do with their life. Now, that's not your fault. That's their fault. But God, when he created all of us, he gave all of us a gift. We were born with the gift at birth. God ain't made nobody and gave them a gift. Now, the thing of it is, if you stop looking at your gift as running, jumping, singing, dancing, then you can get on with your life. But so many people are pursuing their passion instead of pursuing their gift. Most of you have mastered the principles of success. But when you're talking to young people, you're talking to some people that ain't mastered that aspect. It's our job to teach young people the principles of success. They got to learn from your mistakes. See, I messed my life up so I can turn around and talk about it one day. I've been divorced twice. I've lost everything I owned in my life twice. I lost it all again in 2005. At the end of 2005, I had $1,700. In 2005, I had made millions of dollars. I had $1,700 at the end of 2005. I've been homeless. I lived in a car for 3 years. I learned some principles, and I started applying. So I'm a little bit different Christian than most people right here. I just happen to be a little bit more real about it. I don't really know where a lot of scriptures are in the Bible. I just happen to know what's in there and what ain't in there. And I had a lady the other day on my
show, I had slipped up and cussed on one of the commercial breaks because I've been working on my cussing, but that's not really working for me. I've just come to the conclusion that I'm just going to be a cussing Christian. I've been trying to get it and shake it, but it ain't working for me, man. And I accidentally cussed on the commercial break, and the lady, I could tell she was a little put off by it. And I didn't mean to, I don't want to be offensive to people, but I was just talking natural. And she just stood up and said, I have a question for you, Mr. Hart. She said, so how's your walk going with Christ? I thought about it. I said, well, I walk tall, I walk strong, with long strides and a slight limp. And that's how I walk. Now, if you ain't got no limp to your walk, congratulations. Mine has a slight limp to it. And every now and then, the flaws that I have come out. See, difference between me and a lot of people, I happen to be famous. So my flaws have a microphone and a spotlight and the internet connected to it. You might can make your mistake at the house and don't nobody know nothing about it. But I got people watching me all day long. So what I've learned in this journey along the way of having my life as twisted as it was, I've learned the principles of success. I've learned how to get back up, how to fall and fail, get written off, say you ain't gonna ever be nothing. I've learned how to start over. I've learned how to take one heap of all my winnings and risk it on one turn or pitch and toss, lose and start again at my beginnings and never once breathe a word about my loss. Yeah, I've learned stuff like that. That's Rudyard Kipling, in case you didn't recognize that little poem. I stole that. That's what I was paying a little bit of attention in college. I didn't get the degree, but I was listening just a little bit. And when I talk to you, I try to get people to identify with these principles. The greatest thing that you can do in your life, I told the kids earlier, we're a college institute, so it kind of trips people out a little bit when I say this. And I tell them how important it is to get your education, yada, 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 because we're at a college, that's what I got to say. But then I turn right around, I tell them the truth. The most important thing in your life ain't your education. The most important thing in your life is your dream. See, the scripture says, a man without a dream or a vision shall perish. Don't say nothing about it. Now, you got to have one if you're going to climb to certain jobs and go into corporate letter and be in banking and be in finance and all this stuff y'all doing. But it's the dream that propels you. Look, man, we got to break this thing down real simple for people someday. Quit acting bush like you've been rich all your life. That's what kills me. I come to these functions, everybody sit up, they lean back in their chair, they speak proper grammar, they get their nose up. You act like you had money all your life. I ain't have money all my life. I come into some money, but I've been scrapping and hustling and grinding and trying to get over. And so have you. But then you get here and you don't have no memory of that. Because now your life is fixed. And so now when you talk to young people, you don't talk to them from the perspective of you made mistakes too. You don't talk to young people like, hey, been there, done that. I smoke weed in college too, man. I know where you at. You don't want to tell them that. Now, Clinton smoked weed. He the president of the United States. I'm going to probably say a lot of stuff. I already know that I'm not coming back next year. That's clear. I ain't got a problem. See, that's why I give my money wide to me. Because I already know I'm going to mess around and say something. I'm going to throw somebody into something. I see a couple of looks on y'all's face right now. But I don't really care. I'm out of here. I'm going to get on this jet. I'm going to go down here. My wife down in Miami. Man, I'm going to go sleep with my wife tonight. I don't care what y'all do. I was telling you about your gift. This is how you save yourself a lot of trouble. This may apply to some adults. Maybe. Your gift is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your God-given gift. You ain't got to trip on it, wonder about it. It's what you do better than anything else. Now, whether you've chosen to make that your life work or not, that's your choice. But I got news for you. If you don't ever pursue that, you ain't going to ever be happy. It's some unhappy people in this room today because there's some people in here doing what people expect them to do and doing what was required of them, and they just got locked into it. Now you got bills and the family, you don't really want to pursue your dream. So now you got the job, and you just gonna ride it all the way out. There ain't nothing wrong with that. if your job is what you're gifted at doing. This man is going to retire this year, but he's been in the education of young people's minds. He's been shaping young people's minds for 30 years like that. That's what he was gifted to do. If you're sitting up in here and you ain't happy and you admit it's because you ain't pursued your gift. And I'm telling you, young people that the blue shirts on and the striped ties, find out what your gift is and pursue it with everything in you. Because ain't nothing worse than getting a degree and you don't even want it after you get it. Because a degree ain't nothing but a piece of paper hanging on a wall. That signifies that you have the ability to complete a task, but your life is made up of what you do with it. Life is 10% what happens. It's 90% of what you do about it. You got to do something with your life, man, that makes your heart beat in the morning when you wake up. See, people ask me all the time, how you do all these jobs, Steve? Because I like all my jobs. You got your radio on 240 times a year. I do a 4-hour live radio show. How you do that every morning? Well, main reason they got a nice check, but other than that, I wake up in the morning, I give people some inspiration, I play music and I tell jokes. Okay, boom, I like doing that. Then I go to a talk show. I live in Chicago 8 months out of the year, 34 weeks. I take 180 talk shows in Chicago. How you do that every day? Because I love doing it. Then I go to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, and in 9 weeks, I take 200 episodes of Family TV. Man, how you take all these shows? Once again, they have a check attached to this. But I love what I do. If you put your TV on this, obvious that I love what I do. I'm always smiling because God has given me the life of my dreams.
But since you're almost to Wisconsin, you get to Missouri, so you should take a
if you live in your gift, man, it changes your life. Do something about your gift. Listen to me, I don't care what job you got now. If it's something that really burns on the inside of you, you ought to go do that. I don't care how old you are. How come you think Kentucky Fried Chicken? How come you think that man on the side, why you think he old? Because his recipe got discovered when he was 68. That ain't the picture of the Colonel when he was 35. But he been frying chicken. He didn't just wake up and start frying chicken. He been frying chicken with this secret recipe for years. It took him a long time before it clicked, but he kept frying chicken, man. Till he became the biggest chicken joint in the world. You can't go nowhere and don't see Kentucky Fried Chicken. That ain't real chicken. But when he was living, it was real chicken now. It really was chicken. It was the actual parts. If you peel that skin off that Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're in for a surprise. It don't look nothing like. But he hit it. When is it too late to hit it? When is it really too late?
What you guys were doing in Missouri.
You're 60, that's too late. You don't want to be rich then? What, the 65 too late for you to be rich? When is it too late to hit it? Man, put some spark in your life. Have something to wake up about that make your heart beat in the morning. Have a joyous spirit when you wake up in the morning. Here's another question. I'll tell you what rich people talk about all the time. You know, rich people talk about all the time? They talk about money all the time. All the principles of success is in the Bible. See, a man is as he thinks. So, what you think, excuse me, but that's what you want. Okay, it makes better sense. Bad grammar makes better sense sometimes. If a man is as he thinketh, then what you think is what you is. That makes real good sense to me. See, yeah, I like to keep it where people remember stuff I say. So rich people, you know, they do talk about money. And when you talk about money around people, they get tight because they don't want to get the money. Well, money's not everything. And money can't buy you happiness. They ain't got no money. Money might not buy you happiness, but it parks you right in front of Happy House. You can get out, ring doorbell, see if Happy home. There's nothing wrong with money. People get, so many things have been said over the years. When rich people get together, they talk about money. They talk about business all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. See, we go to church and we learn the wrong thing. You know what messed me up, man? When I was little, I was at church in Cleveland, you know, and the preacher would always say, it's hard for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. Now, me and the rest of the ignorant members, we thought that you was trying to take a needle with sewing thread and push a camel through it. All the people in my church collectively decided they didn't want to be rich because they wanted to go to heaven. I was sitting at 10-year-old. I was really buying into this because I was trying to figure out how I was going to get this camel into this hole. Because I didn't know what they was talking about because I wanted to be rich. Because this poverty I was allergic to it. I itched all the time. I just came from being poor. You know, it just be digging in yourself sometimes. Because you're poor. Poverty is uncomfortable. First of the month comes, your whole butt tighten up. Just like somebody squeezing lemon juice down the crack of your behind. Because it's the first of the month. All this stuff is due, shop. That's your butt, shop. Just tighten it up. Because you ain't got the money. Why would I not want no money? I live in the hood. I want out. I need money to get out. But at my church, they said, it's as hard for a rich man to get to the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle. So I bought into that. I was about 38, almost 38. I was in Hollywood. I was driving down the street around to the doctor was coming out of the studio on Sunset. I was in the trunk smoking a cigar. I saw Donnie. I said, "What's happening?" He said, "Hey, Steve, man, this is one of the first years I had hosted Celebration of Gospel. And I was going to quit hosting Celebration of Gospel because I didn't like the gospel community because they didn't like me. You know, backstage, they be saying stuff like, I don't know why he is hosting our gospel show. He ain't saved. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm here for the check. Let's be clear about this. I've been in church my whole life, but you know, I ain't living no perfect life, and I wasn't, but you know, that was my life at the time. And I was gonna quit, and I was telling Donnie I was thinking about quitting. He said, "Man, why you gonna quit?" I was telling him, man, I said, "Man, I'm just confused right now." Man. I said, "I don't get it." I said, "Man, I'm thinking about going back to church, man. You know, I want to go to heaven, but man, I'm start making this money, God, and it just don't jive with Christianity." He said, "What you mean?" And I told him what the preacher, that it's hard for a man to get through the kingdom of heaven as it is for a camel through the eye of a needle. So Donnie looked at me a little confused because, you know, he's a pastor. And I was just telling him, you know, but I'm trying to find a way to get the camel in the needle. He said, "Steve, that's not what it means." I said, "What does it mean?" He says, "In the Middle East, a needle is an arc that is stuck in the sand that looks like a wishbone on a chicken. And they have them to entryways sometimes. And when a camel approaches the needle, in order for the camel to get through the needle, he has to kneel and crawl through the needle. And then the camel gets back up." He said, "That's what God meant." I said, "Donnie, you mean they ain't talking about a sewing needle?" He said, "Fool, you can't put a camel through a sewing needle." After that, I said, "I got to make me some money." I just humble myself before God like I'm going through the needle, and he ought to let me in. But I'm going in with some money. I became friends with Oprah Winfrey because of obvious reasons. We ain't gonna keep saying that, but she's a very successful woman. She's a very kind person. Everybody get a bad rap on the internet. You know, she thinks she is. Well, you know, a lot of people shoot her. The thing about haters, man, haters kick you when they're down, and they throw at you when you're up. They just do it all damn day. They're just haters. You got them on your job. You got them at your church. They just hate. They just haters. Haters because they ain't got nothing else to do. They want to be you. They can't. So here come the hate. And I don't mind haters, as long as they come usually up. You can throw up at me. I don't address you. And I was talking to Oprah one time, and she said, I did a life class with her this past year, and she said, "Steve, I never knew you had a vision board." She said, "You believe in that?" It was the first time we had a serious conversation. I said, "Oprah, well, I'm not going to believe in it." Every successful person I know has a vision board, or they have their goals written down. You can't do it without writing it down. when you write it down, it's a symbol of faith. See, I was telling a story earlier about writing it down. You know, teacher, we were in 6th grade and asked us to write on a piece of paper. We came in from summer what you want to be when you grow up. So everybody filled out the paper, you had to put your name on it, had to write this one thing in 1960. So I wrote, I want to be on TV. Because nobody had told me I couldn't. I was 10, my vision was wide open. So I wrote, I want to be on TV. She collected all the papers. She started going around the room, naming everybody's name, had everybody stand up. And she read what they wanted to be. Bobby wanted to be a nurse, Johnny wanted to be a basketball player, Robbie wanted to own a gas station, Cindy wanted to be a doctor. She got to me, she waited last. Now, I had never gotten a gold star all of my years of school. And she asked me to stand. And when I stood, she said, "Go, Stevie, come to the front of the class." Now I'm thinking to myself, this is it. This is the gold star moment. I've been waiting 10 years for this. I ain't never got a star before. This is the day. So I started walking to the front. I'm skinny. I got my brother's clothes on because we were poor. I got up there and she said, "Steve, let me ask you something. What did you write on your paper?" I said, "I want to be on TV." She said, "And why did you write that on your paper?" I said, "Because that was our assignment for today." And then she said, "What you write that on the paper for?" I'm thinking to myself, judging by the tone of this conversation, this might not be the gold star moment I thought it was going to be. So I started cowering down. And she said, "So why did you write it on the paper?" And I said, "Because you asked us to." Voice is really soft. She said, "Do you know anybody on TV?" "Anybody in this school ever been on TV?" I said, "No." "Any of your relatives been on TV?" I said, "No, man." She said, "Take this paper. I'm going to call your mama. When you go home, I'm going to tell her you being a smart aleck in this class. Now you take this paper and you come back with something more believable on it." So she pinned a note on me and I had to go home. My mom was waiting on me because she called the house. So my mother said, "What you doing up at that school being a smart aleck?" I said, "Mama, I just did what the teacher told me." She read the note. She said, "What you write this on your paper?" I said, "Because the lady asked me what I wanted to be. I want to be on TV." She said, "I'm telling you that when you get home." Well, my father was the executioner. My mother was the ward, and he was the executioner. And I knew when he got home, I was going to get my ass whipped. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. I slipped out. Sorry about that. I was going to get my butt whipped. And so when my father came home, she told my father, "Look what Steve wrote on his paper." So he read the paper. He said, "What's going on here?" He said, "Steve up at that school act like a smart ass. That teacher asked him what he wanted to be, and he done put, 'I want to be on TV.'" My father read the paper. He said, "What's wrong with that?" I started thinking, a reprieve. So he said, "Boy, go in your room. I'll be in there in a minute." And I got my spankings in the room, so I went on in there getting ready. Him and my mother had an argument. My father came in the room. He said, "Boy, what you write this on your paper for?" I said, "Because I want to be on TV." He said, "What she want you to write on the paper?" I said, "Like a basketball player or policeman." He said, "Put that on paper. Take it up to the school and give it to that dream killing helper." So I write it. He said, "Now take your paper." He said, "Before you go to bed tonight," now this is my father now with a 3rd grade education. My father was a sharecropper in Alabama. He said, "Read your paper every night before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, read your paper before you go to sleep. Read your paper every day and read your paper every night." Took my paper up to the school like Sunday. It took me till I was 38 years old. But I finally, I got on TV. The devil don't care about you. The devil wants to keep you from your destiny. That's his one job. Satan got one job, to keep you from your destiny. The devil don't ever want you to be what God created you to be. So guess what? When you discover your gift and you think, "I'm about to make a move and go be what God created me to be," then here go the devil. You got this job over here, you're gonna lose your 401k. Once you get your paper straight, you can skip all of this. You can get yourself started in the process, man, but you gotta quit letting the devil keep you from your destiny by tying it to this little job you got, because he's tricky with it now. He got you thinking you're gonna mess your credit up if you quit your job. What you mean mess your credit up? You overextended now. You got good credit, but you can't buy nothing else with it. If your card maxed out at 5,000 and you got 4,090 on it, where we at? Come on, y'all. You're gonna have to make a choice, but you can't let the devil fool you. He trying to keep you from being who God made you to be. Yeah, look, man, I don't know if I'm getting through to you, but I want you to hear me. I do, man. Look, I wish everybody before they die could experience what it feels like to wake up and do what you was born to do. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. If you've been dreaming of opening their business, you should start the process. Don't try to figure out how to make the business make $1 million. Just start the process. See, if you make one step, he'll make two, but he can't make his two unless you make your one. So you got to start. Fill out the application. Go get the pack. Send in the paperwork. Get your federal ID number. Do something, man. Start creating a website. Let your job sponsor your dream. Take some of your check money. Quit paying one of them bills. Take that money and start your website. What is you talking about now? If you owe Kmart some money and Sears, what is you paying them for? They finna be out of business. Take whatever money you owe Kmart and Sears, take that money, buy your business card. Take one of your bills one time instead of paying it, start your website. But start. If you make one step, he'll make two. And don't worry about where you're going with it. Just get started. He'll show you the way to go because he wants you to get to your destiny. But he got to make sure that you want to get to your destiny first. If you tell him you want to get to your destiny, that God you serve, he going to show you how to do it. You can believe that. Don't forget to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray. And don't ever be too proud to pray. But prayer changes things. Stay right here on Faith Street, y'all. The box that you asked for is coming. Everything on my vision board, I get. I built on my house one time. My wife wanted a special kind of car. And I built the garage, the extra garage on the house. She came out there and saw me. She said, Steve, what are you doing? I said, I'm building an extra garage. She said, Steve, we got enough cars. What do you need with another garage? I said, don't worry about it. 2 years went by. I had been looking for this car. I went to dealerships. They said, sir, there are none in that color. I said, she wanted white. I said, so I went to the dealership. I said, I want you to get this car in for my wife. She said, sir, there are none in the country and none being made. I said, okay. But when the car come in, could you accept it into your dealership and call me when it get here? He said, sir, I done told you. I can pull it up on the computer. There are no cars in that color, that make or model. Do you want another color? I said, no, my wife wants white. She said, sir, we don't have that. I said, I've already built the garage. I've already built the garage. All my garages have chandeliers in them. I don't have doors that go over. All my cars have chandeliers hanging over. And I have marble floors in my garage because I like stuff like that because I saw it one time. So I said, I've already built the garage. He said, sir, there are no cars like that anywhere in the computer base. I said, I just need for you when the car comes in. So a year went by. I said, any word on the car? He said, no, I've called the factory. They're not even making anymore in that color. I said, okay, I'm looking for this color right here. He said, sir, we don't have. I said, I'm gonna give it to her for her birthday, October 10th, 2016. He said, sir, that's impossible. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's just the car that I'm asking for in a particular color. How that's impossible? He said, sir, I can't find the car. I asked you to. I asked you when it come through, would you accept it into your dealership and call me? That's all I asked you for. 2 weeks before my wife's birthday, I got a phone call. It was Perillo from Gold Coast in Chicago. He said, Steve Hart. He said, are you sitting down? I said, no, I'm standing up. What's happening? He said, you're not going to believe this. A guy bought a car a year ago. It's been sitting in his garage. It has 8 miles on it. He bought it to me to turn in to me and ask him, how much would I give him for? I said, what is it? He said, it's the white car you've been looking for. I said, I'll be up there to get it. He said, this is unbelievable. I said, that God I serve, he's an unbelievable God. I don't listen to what nobody tell me. Once I write it down, I write the vision and make it plain, it will come. Surely it will come at an appointed time. It doesn't matter that nobody sees it. It doesn't matter that it's visible to other people. All you got to do is write it down and believe it. God is greatness, man, all day long. What he's done for me, he'll do the same thing for you. But you got to write the vision. Go home and read Habakkuk 2:2. Go home and read Bible verse Habakkuk 2:2. Read what it says. If you do that, you'll change your life. Appreciate it. I was 26 years old, man. Struggling. I didn't have enough. And these people with the furniture store in Cleveland, and they took me in and gave me my first contract with my little carpet cleaning company. When I became a comedian at 27, I didn't have money to travel. They gave me an account at their travel agency. And man, I ran up a bill like $11,000 just trying to travel and make it. Them people right there, man, they helped me out. I used to spend the night in hotel parking lots. What was I gonna do? I ain't had nowhere to stay, so I lived in the car. I had $35. And I said, come on, God, man, I've been trying to make this dream come true. You done left me out here like this. And I was crying so hard that he just said, I didn't like hear a voice or nothing, but he spoke to me. And however, he said, if you get up, I'm gonna take you places you ain't never been. Now I was finna quit. So I said, skip it. I'm gonna quit anyway. So I got in my car, I went to a payphone, and I was gonna call my dad. You remember back in the day where you could punch in a code and call your answering machine and get your messages? So I called and I punched in the code, and he said, Doop. He said, hey, Steve, this is Chuck Sutton with Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of you. You're very funny. If you could get here Sunday night, we'd love to put you on television. Call me back. Let me know if you could make it. So I hung the phone up. I'm crushed because my whole dream of being on TV, and I couldn't get to New York. I got 35 hours. How am I gonna get to New York? I can't make it. So I'm standing there at the phone booth and tears just coming down my face. I said, God, so that must be a sign for me to go home. Because this is it. I ain't even got the money to go to the Apollo. My whole thing, I wanted to be on TV. I couldn't even make the dream come true. This is the most messed up moment. And so I said, man, let me call this dude back and see if he said this Sunday. Because maybe he said next Sunday, and I can hustle up a little bit of money or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but let me just call him back. So I called him back. Steve, this is Chuck Sutton, Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of yours. You're very, very funny. Look, we have an opening Sunday night at Showtime at the Apollo. If you can make it, we'd love to put you on TV. I said, it's this Sunday. Before I hit the button, I heard, Doop, you have another message. Now, it wasn't there before. So I punched my code in. I listened to the second message. It said, Steve Harvey, this is Tom Sober from Comedy Caravan. This was a Thursday. He said, I have a gig in Jacksonville, Florida on Friday night that pays $150. If you can get there Friday night, you'll make $150. So I called him back and I said, hey, Tom, did you get a gig away? He said, no, it's still available. He said, can you get that? I said, I'm in Pensacola, Florida. I'm 3.5 hours away. So I drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and that night I made the 150. Club owner said, man, you funnier than the guy we hired. If you stay tomorrow night, I'm gonna give you another $150. So now I got $300 now. So I get on the phone, I call Chuck Sutton. I say, hey man, is the gig still available at Showtime at the Apollo? He said, well, we got one opening left. I said, I'll be there. So I called Eastern Airlines, who used to be open back then. They had a special for $99 going from Jacksonville, Florida to New York round trip. So I parked my car at the airport. I got on a plane, flew. Everything I had was in 2 bags. Got to the Apollo. I said, hey man, I'm here. I got there at 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, you can't stay here because you don't come on to the late show tonight. I said, I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, if you just let me stay in this building, man, I ain't gonna move around nothing. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm in Harlem. I can't go back out here. I got these 2 bags. I got victim wrote all over me, man. So he said, all right, if you go upstairs, don't come down. So he put me in the dressing room on the 6th floor. So that's where all the comedians were. So I stayed up there. I got hungry around 3 o'clock, but I couldn't take it no more. So I went back downstairs, dude named Alton Lister. I said, hey man, he said, man, I thought I told you, don't come down them damn steps. I said, hey man, I'm just hungry, man. I said, let me go to that KFC I saw in the corner. So let me get some chicken. I'll come right back. He said, man, if you ain't back in 20 minutes, you ain't getting in this building. So I went, bought me some chicken, came back. So the comedians started coming in the building. They started coming up on the 6th floor. So I meet this guy named D.L. Hugh. I introduced myself. He introduced himself. I'm sitting there, another guy come in named Dwayne Johnson. Then this other dude walked in named Jamie Foxx. And I introduced myself. We don't know each other. Ain't none of us famous. It's 1991, man. They gave everybody the lineup. I was on the last show of the night. I don't go on to 11 at night. I done had this 4 pieces of chicken. I'm starving, man. That chicken done wore off. I'm nervous, man. I'm about to throw up. D.L. Hughley went downstairs. D.L. Hughley got booed off. Dwayne Johnson got booed off. Jamie Foxx went down there and got booed. They booed Jamie, then Jamie started singing. And then they started clapping. And Jamie had their ass, then he went back to them jokes, and they got his ass. So I'm walking down the steps, and I see Jamie sitting on the steps. I said, hey, man, hang in there. He said, man, that ain't never happened to me before, man. This crazy. This Jamie Foxx, man, one of the most talented people in all of comedy. Now, you don't even know how nervous I am. I can't even. My breathing is shot because these dudes been booed. So I walk out.